Chair Hath, Co-Chairs Denborough and Johnson, members of the Joint Committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify today. I'm David Reeves, President of the American Federation of Teachers Oregon. We have 13,000 members, including over 10,000 professionals in education among schools, university faculty, librarians, and teaching staff throughout the state. We've been monitoring the efforts of originally the task force and now the Joint Committee to redesign post-secondary education in the state. And actually we're excited about some of the promising initiatives coming up. AFT Oregon's been involved in boards and commissions concerning education throughout the state, with our members serving on them, and we look forward to future work with the legislature and any future boards. I'd like to briefly provide our views on the three bills before the committee. SB 253 seeks to grow an innovative program that makes college more accessible and affordable for students. And it has two components that faculty have been saying for a long time. Provide us with professional development, as the grants in the bill do, and help students with their cost of a higher education. And I think this is actually a great model. It's the only bill that has some kind of funding for that in it. And I think this is a great model for where we should be going with education in this state. Supporting faculty and our professional development, our training, and further education. SB 254, I think a member of the Joint Committee got it right when he termed these are aspirational goals, 40-40-20. Faculty really do want our students to succeed. We do see that educated members of society contribute to society in all ways, and we want to see that. But you know, we have to be realistic, and I'm glad some of the previous testifiers mentioned the elephant in the room: funding. The Post-Secondary Educational Quality Commission, the ones that established 40-40-20, also set some very explicit financial amounts that it would cost per student to realize those goals. And I've noticed that's not been mentioned at all here, and I'll take SB 254 for what it is, a very aspirational goal, and one hopefully we can meet when the economy revives, when we start reinvesting back in higher ed.
I think you got 253 and 254 just interchanged.
Okay, excuse me then. 253 then, thank you. But I think it's something we can start working towards once we start reinvesting in higher education. But it's just kind of the 1-2 punch to say we want higher education to meet these lofty goals, and we're cutting you further this year. It's just, I don't see how it's going to happen. I've just got to get that out there. It hasn't been talked a whole lot, so let's be realistic about that. Finally, on to SB 242. We see a coordinating commission creating a very unified system in the state as a positive thing. I think that's faculty have kind of looked forward to that prominence for post-secondary education in the state, and that's a good sign. The mission statement, for example, the mission statement of higher ed in Section 17 is a great thing, and I think we should keep that in mind. That's what my colleagues were really talking about when we talked about quality. There's a lot of operational things in that bill, but let's really keep in mind when I talk to fellow faculty, my colleagues, those are the kinds of things they look at. It's not the operational side. It's really what goes on in our classrooms and our students' lives that we look at. So I think that mission statement in Section 17 is a very good thing. There are two issues I want to mention here that we do have concerns about. One is we do want to ensure that however tuition is set, it's a fair and transparent process, and we agree with the speaker from the Oregon Students Association that students should have a substantial voice in that process in order to make it fair and transparent. So we hope it's something all stakeholders, particularly students, have a voice in how tuition rates are set. One other thing, and this relates to what my colleagues were talking about, quality of education, is the Performance Compact. And when I talk to faculty, when I talk to my colleagues, this is the red flag they see. Not so much that it's a bad thing; it could be very positive, but it's very vague the way it's worded. It's probably the least discussed part of all this bill. I just see a few passing references to, oh, here's an example of what that could be. But it's really something that concerns us. I think if I asked every member of the Joint Committee, what do you see as a performance compact? What specific goals? I might get a different answer from everybody on the committee. So this is what I want to speak to today. We're excited, actually, and Representative Lindsay, we're not opposed to any change. This new model of funding that's not strictly on enrollment, but it's looking at a whole lot of factors that are in higher education. This could be a really good thing. Things like affordability, student retention, successful completion of studies, student success, and quality of education. A new model of funding based on that is very promising. But when I hear that's really going to be rated by the performance compact, I just want to ensure that members of this committee and the legislature, when this bill gets passed, are very clear on what this performance compact is going to mean. Professor King mentioned that higher education is not always a discernible thing, how to assess it. And this is probably our biggest worry, as Senator Hass said, the example of Texas, where they're tying specific dollar figures to how students are educated and what their degrees are in, and that's how they assess quality. We also see just a strict number figure. We want 200 degrees from your program in education by next year. That is not quality of education. It's an aspirational goal, but that does worry faculty when we see business standards that would relate more to production of widgets, of whatever you want to talk, applied to higher education, mostly because we haven't really been included in this conversation up to this point. You have the Gates Foundation, you have the Lumina Foundation, you have our consultants come in, but we really want to ensure that faculty, now that you are looking at quality of education, you're talking about a performance compact, that educators are included in what this is. We are assessing the quality of education. Dr. Narode mentioned how he does it in his program just for the entry of students. Faculty, we as faculty are assessing our curriculum. It's an ongoing thing. A curriculum that doesn't have a self-assessment tool in it is not a valuable curriculum. Faculty are assessing our curriculum, student success, our programmatic goals as we are going on. And that's my point. When we're talking about a performance compact, let's make sure educators are involved in it at the appropriate levels. Often it's at the programmatic level, and that we are making clear, and this is something we haven't really done so well as in academia. We haven't maybe made our case very clear about what we are doing, and now we're hearing words like accountability as if we haven't been accountable up to now. I think we just haven't been clear about what we're doing. I think the American system of education is a success. As far as I know, it's where most students in the world still want to come to, if they had a choice of what institution to study at, would be an American institution. And we are really strong on a lot of things like creating innovators, forward thinkers. And I just want to make sure that whatever mechanism is set up to determine this performance compact, and particularly how we assess the quality of education and the success of our students, it should include educators. I mean, this committee would not establish a board of medical standards and not have a doctor on it. If you look at some of the other boards in the state, Oregon Board of Architecture, 5 out of 7 members are architects. Oregon Board of Plumbing, 4 out of 7 are plumbers. I just want to make clear to this committee, whatever mechanism is set up to assess the and I hate to use the word performance, but that's the word you've been using, the performance of our institutions, our programs, and our student success, it should include educators. Thank you.